Welcome to Augmented Teachings. Here at this channel, we will talk about the things that will inspire us to think better, feel better, and in turn be better. Together we will uncover spiritual common sense while we shun fear and judgment by enjoying acceptance and recognizing commonalities. We believe compassion and consideration for all humanity is the path to enlightenment. Welcome home.
Welcome to Augmented Teachings. This is Brandi and Todd.
Hi, how you doing?
Yay!
Hey.
We're making it work.
Oh, that's a great intro.
I know.
I love that.
That was fun. We're learning.
Nick just made that for us, and That's the best part of the show. From now on, it's just downhill.
No. Manny's here.
Hi, Manny. How you doing?
Hey, Manny.
Oh, yeah. Coach is here, too.
Oh,
how you doing, Jose?
Hi. You're just gonna hey. No, I'm just kidding. Hi.
Oh, my
welcome,
gosh.
Boys. Welcome.
Oh, my gosh.
I love the intro. Yay.
Thank you again, Manny, for helping us learn how to do this.
Yeah.
And please give us questions anytime you want. And this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. Every Sunday. 6 p.m.
Every Sunday. So we are going to be live every Sunday at 6 p.m.
on Twitch.
Yes, on Twitch.
For those people watching on YouTube later.
Yeah, because this is recorded, and our producer, Nick, will edit this down, and we will put it up on our YouTube channel. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, we have this thing that we're doing called Augmented Teachings. And really the thing that we want to talk about was why choose us? Why choose us as your spiritual guidance, so to speak? Mm-hmm. There are so many people out there that are seeing what's happening with religion and seeing that they're not enjoying what they're feeling or seeing from that. There's a lot of division and a lot of judgment, a lot of anger, and we're trying to explain to people that religion is just an interpretation of a book of prayer. So it's not, the book of prayer may be the word of God, but the interpretation may not be. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, is so many people are picking and choosing what they want. And now that our society is evolving, we have more information to work with. As an N.D.E. researcher, who I've gone through, because I have the same issues. I'm like, I'm not seeing what I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. So I need better answers. And I started going down the road of studying near-death experiences and finding similarities and finding constant themes that run through them all, and coming to consensus of what's real and what's not real. And Brandi is a metaphysical practitioner. Mm-hmm. So explain what you do.
Well, I do a whole lot of things, but basically one of my favorite things to do is kind of like you research different philosophies, not so much religion, but different philosophies, different ways of life, and kind of forming this, I don't want to say like this outlook on life, but I guess, this outlook on life, on what resonates with me from all these different things that, like you said, finding the commonalities between this and this and this. And that's kind of how I've come up to where I am right now. And I've taken a lot of personal development classes, a lot of spiritual experiences. So I have a background in a lot of different things. Right.
And a lot of it is mindfulness.
Yes, mindfulness, meditation.
Which is a way to connect to spirit or to source.
Right.
Directly, instead of reading in a book about other people that connected to source.
Right, absolutely. So metaphysical is above the physical. Right. So meta is above. And so that's why, there's so much more to this life, to this whole reality than we've been told to believe.
Right. I mean, they only had what they had to work with.
Exactly.
You have a book of prayer. Let's try to find out what God is through this. And it's like, they had what they had. They did what the best they could, but there's only so much that book of prayer can actually do for you.
Right. And one of my favorite quotes, I'll probably say this, every show, is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can.
Right.
And I really feel that the Bible, when it was written at that time, that was their understanding, that was their interpretation. However, a lot of things were not put into the Bible.
Right.
And again, it was the understanding at that time, and our understanding as we evolve as just humanity in general. You know, as humanity evolves, certain things are being illuminated, and that is part of the enlightenment process. More light is coming in. I call it the divine light, the divine wisdom within.
Right.
Is we're having these internal revelations where we don't have to come from a book anymore.
Right.
So I don't think that we are actually teaching anything. I think that we are just sharing our understanding of how things work, and you say, learning about God in the afterlife without the baggage
of religion
and dogma,
And dogma, right. Right. And the thing is as we progress as a society, as a species, more information is given.
All right.
You don't give algebra books to a second grader. They're not there yet. They're just not there. So as our species and societies evolve and progress towards compassion and less away from judgment and fear, then more information is given to get us to the next level. And then when we start all pooling up around this level, then more information is given.
Right.
So that's where we're at. This is what we've found out so far, and we want to share it with everybody so we can get to that next level together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of understanding, away from fear and judgment, and more towards love and acceptance.
Well, and I'm a firm believer that everything that needs to be said is said, and everything that needs to be heard is heard. So on some level, those that are listening, they attracted this.
Right.
And also equally, we attracted this because not only do we get to share these experiences, with ourselves, we get to share it with our friends and family, because sometimes people are like, hey, what do you believe? Because we are part of a spiritual center, and not everybody understands that, because it's not a traditional church. It's not Christian. It's not Buddhist. It's not Catholic.
No.
It is definitely a way of life, and it's called science of mind.
But a candle is lit for every religion.
Right, because we honor all faiths, all paths, all religious thought.
And as I explain to people that all loving inspiration comes from God. All inspiration that is not loving does not come from God. It comes from the vessel that you reside in. It comes from fear.
Well, because my interpretation of God is love. It is a vibration and frequency of God, which is love.
Right.
And not like romantic love or like, oh, I love this water. Not that, but it's like it is the vibration, though.
Right. The way you love a child, the way you love an animal.
Yeah.
Right. So we just did something.
What'd we do? What'd we do?
We got a puppy.
We did.
We did get a puppy. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And
guess what his name is? Just guess. I want.
Guess what his name is.
Come on, Coach and Manny. What do you think his name is? Our new puppy. Come on. I'll give you 5 seconds.
So.
All right. So. Todd Jr.
Oh my gosh.
No. Okay, so his name is Little Tank.
This Tank.
Little Tank. because he's a little tank.
Yeah, he's half German Shepherd, half Pit. So he's wide already.
Yeah, his chest is already wide, his back's already wide.
And he's still milk fed right now.
Oh my God, he's still in a bottle.
He's on a bottle, but he is.
Yeah.
You can tell he's gonna be a tank.
Yes. So Todd found his human mommy and his little brothers and sisters, and they were without a home, we'll say, and the puppies needed some care and some help, and so Todd brought home a puppy, and so we have Tank Jr., little Tank.
Little Tank. And yeah. He was old enough to come from the mom, but we adjusted, and now we milk feed it at night and during the day, and. Yeah, do our best to be good parents.
Yeah, so you guys will get to see him when you come over. So I'm so excited. So it's awesome because we get to, So, okay.
Enough of that.
Off of the puppy topic, but it's reality. It's life, and we get to...
Well, you said love, and that's why it brought me to that subject, because we just adore him so much.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God, he's so damn cute. Anyway.
All right, we could talk about our puppy all day long.
But we're not. We're not.
That's part of having the shared experience, because there is no spiritual path and then there's life. It's all one and the same.
Right.
Some people think like, oh, you can't do this or that because you're a spiritual person or you're a religious person. What do you say? We're here to experience for God.
Yes.
Something. What do you say? Come on, tell me.
That is that is the second purpose of life.
Yeah.
Right. The first is to work the puzzle of unconditional love. The second is to bring back experiences. So we're not here to be perfect. We're here to learn love over fear. That's it. That's the whole goal. Learning love over fear.
Yeah.
Which is why we're here. Right here doing this show.
It is.
Yes.
It is because so not only do I get, this is my second show of the day, you guys. So
you're MC today, right?
I know. So at my spiritual center, I am the MC, so I get to run the show, and it's really a lot of fun, and it's live, and this is live now. So apparently my whole life is live now. I love it. Yeah, what was I going to say? See, that's the thing about live is things come and go. This is not a scripted service. This is my second service.
Right.
And I had a whole thing I was going to say, but I don't know.
Well, that's why I picked you, because I saw you speak and I was like, you're a natural.
Yeah,
and I was like, you're not afraid of the mic. You're not afraid of being in front of people. I'm like, this is perfect. And
that's what it was. I got it now.
And you knew your stuff. And I was like, I want you to be on the podcast. And that's how it all happened.
Because I'm totally real. That's what it was.
Right.
Is I'm real. And so, sometimes we may have fear in life, or we may be, just like hesitant to do something. But if we feel that fear and do it anyways, sometimes it's really just excitement, but our brain doesn't know the difference. Honestly, okay, don't quote me, guys, but seriously, I've done some research, and people have been hooked up to like EKGs or whatever for their brains, and they're shown videos. And some can be of like something that's exciting them, and then there'll be a printout, on the machine. And then they will show something that is like maybe scary to them, and it'll be the same printout. The brain doesn't understand, or the body doesn't know if you're excited or you're having anxiety. You're having those same chemical reactions. And so sometimes we say, feel the fear and do it anyways, because maybe it's not fear, maybe it's excitement, and that's something that we have had to overcome, because our first videos, our first podcasts were not of our faces, and they were not live.
Right.
So we could mess up a bunch of times. We could forget, whatever we were going to be talking about. Sometimes in our, so we've only been doing this a couple of months so far, but it's together, but it's something that we've done, individually for quite some time in different platforms and different avenues.
Right.
I'm mostly a live public speaker.
Right.
And, he's had his own experiences too.
I've made videos in the past. The last couple of years are all hidden now, but I've been making videos for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I need somebody to bounce stuff off of.
Right.
Somebody to film the dead space. Because I was typing all my stuff.
Oh.
I was typing it all out.
So you're like writing a whole script for yourself?
Script and doing it on a teleprompter, right?
Yeah. Which is great.
Which is fun, but it's not exciting.
But
it's not exciting. It's not fun. You're not hearing banter between two people.
Because we're not really like interacting, you're just kind of like talking to a dead space, which is fine. Some people do that, and that's okay. I do that too. I still make videos and things like that.
Right.
But anyways, the purpose of this conversation, this portion of it, was to feel the fear, do it anyways, and that's when we grow. Because I feel like we have to step out of our comfort zone if we really truly want to grow in this life. And sometimes, we talk about, the purpose of life is working the puzzle of unconditional love. Well, how do we do that? If we're sitting in a comfortable state, right? And we're just, everything is so wonderful, and we're not growing, and we're not triggered, and our buttons aren't being pushed, for whatever reason. We're not experiencing the full totality of life, because life is about feeling all of the wide range of emotions so that we can learn and grow. Joy is just as important as frustration, in my opinion and in my experience as being a mindfulness practitioner, because they're both causing us to grow, and we can find appreciation in all of those emotions.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So we're having a shared experience right now.
Having a shared experience right now, and with y'all. So thank you for being here. And
show's over. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's start with the show. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. So I wanted to talk about some stuff.
Okay.
And I know that, so we've shared this before, this is kind of like an ongoing conversation.
Right.
And I believe that there are no teachers, there are no students, there's only an exchange of information. It's like you share your understanding with me all the time, and I share my understanding with you. And a lot of times there's some commonalities, and other times there's like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. Like you augmented that thought.
Yes.
And now it's like, I don't want to be cheesy, but it's like a whole new perspective opens up, because now, maybe I was looking at life in the lens of this way, but then now I'm like, oh, whatever you said opened me up. And once the limits, the preconceived limits on our understanding are spread and opened, it can our mind can never go back to the way it was.
Right. Once you know that's it.
Yes.
And that seed is planted.
Absolutely. And it will always forever be there.
The next day you're driving, you start thinking about it, you're like, well, wait a second. Well, if that is so, then that means, what does it mean for this situation and that situation? Right.
And then it kind of gets the gears inside your own mind working, and then each thought kind of builds upon each other, and before you know it, you're even more open than you were before, and you're recognizing different similarities and synchronicities within life, and all these pieces of the puzzle are kind of coming together to form this picture. And one of the things that we talk about is when I was growing up, I don't know where this came from, if it was in the Bible or not. That's the part where I say don't quote me because I don't know. But my dad used to always say, what you do in the dark comes out in the light. And that's something that Todd and I have been, it's been an ongoing conversation. Right. And so we wanted to talk about that today. Yes. So what does that really mean to you? What you do in the dark.
What you do in the dark comes out in the light.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, doing the study that I've been doing, what it means to me is, because it is a true statement, very true. Even though you're trying to hide something, as I like to tell people, what do Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Area 51 all have in common?
Okay. What?
All the truths will be known. All the truths there will be known, whether it be the person or the place. Because everything you do is recorded. Everything is relived back home through copying it, right? It's basically being recorded, but then also vibrationally. So through your five senses and vibrationally. So basically, no matter what I do, there's always a paper trail of it, basically, no matter what. So
you can't hide from it.
You can't hide from it. So I know there might be some politicians I just mentioned right now that people on the left think this guy's wrong, and people on the right think that person's wrong, right? Doesn't matter. First of all, you're not supposed to fix them. You're here to develop your own soul. Second of all their truths will be known. Right. Every single one of them. And their intent. They might do something wrong, but their intent wasn't to do that. Or you find somebody that did something wrong and their intent was to do that.
And that was part of their soul's path.
And that's part of the soul. That's part of learning. Area 51, every person that walks in there is making a video recording of it through their senses and vibrationally. Whether it be scared, joy, anger, whatever it is, they're making a visual, auditory, all the senses are recording and vibrationally. So
I like to say it's kind of imprinted, like those experiences are imprinted into the tapestry of the soul, which we get to, kind of view in our past life review once we're done with this term here.
So our memories are our treasures.
Yeah.
Basically. And so there's nothing you can hide in this realm of existence called Earth. You cannot hide anything. There's nothing that you can hide. So all the times we spent, as teenagers in the bathroom, guess what? That's all known, right? It's all known. But the angel, because it's funny because I've read I've read testimonies of people that have, talked about that actual subject, and they're like, the angels are very discreet. They're not. They know that you have an animal body and it's hard to control the hormones sometimes, but that's just the way it is.
But that's just part of life, though.
It is part of life.
It's nature.
Right.
It's all good.
Right. But... So, but they have brought that up, and I found it very amusing.
Yeah.
So, what does it mean for you? But what you do.
Well, I have a different interpretation of that. Yes. Yes. And. So. I am a firm believer, based off of my research, my understanding, and my personal experience, that working with our subconscious mind, which is an aspect of ourself, some people call it the shadow self. Some people call it the deepest part of our soul that gets carried from lifetime to lifetime.
Our innate.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that there are certain tools and practices and ways to work with our subconscious mind. And that's what I call the dark. So what we do in the dark comes out in the light, because I do a lot of shadow work. That's part of what I do in my practice. And
what's shadow work?
Basically uncover, well, first of all, it's recognizing that we even have this other aspect of us, because I do believe that we are a multifaceted being. You know, we have this physical part of ourselves, we have this mental, emotional part of ourselves, we have this spiritual part of ourselves, but then we also have our soul. And our soul is what is carried from lifetime to lifetime. You know, we don't get to take our physical body. We don't get to take our mind. We don't get to take our emotional self. That comes here through this physical vessel, because that's where the senses are. And that's where our perception is. But our subconscious mind is basically, I think of it like this storehouse of all of the experiences that we've had over lifetimes. And they can be happy, they can be sad, they can be whatever, right? Some people call that whole area like the Akashic Records. And again, if you ever want to look up any of this stuff, Google it or whatever. But anyways, we're not here to teach.
That's basically the hard drive that holds all the information.
Yes,
I'll put it in layman. I'll put duh terms.
Yeah, because we're not here to teach stuff. We're just here to talk about our understanding. So, I feel like there are certain tools and practices and ways through mostly meditation that you can get into the inner workings of your mind, and you can uncover certain unconscious beliefs that are kind of driving this experience, because I do live my life based off of the principles of the law of attraction. Basically, what I am thinking on, what I'm thinking about most, I will attract into my experience. So if I go into that inner working part of my mind, which is the unconscious part where, you know, parts of my soul reside, and I do the work to uncover any kind of, we'll just say fear or anything like that, it helps me to maneuver through this life experience so much easier. And then what I say comes out in the light, meaning like this outer experience. See where I'm going with that?
So you're digging deep.
Yes.
Weeding out all the BS.
And I do call it the garden of my mind.
Yeah, so we're taking all the dandelions out, right?
Yeah. I'm pulling all the weeds. I'm doing some gardening, babe, in there.
Right. And then what you bring to the surface the next day,
yeah,
it's a much brighter garden.
Right, because
that you show to the world.
Yes, spirit, God, the universe.
How do you do this?
Oh my gosh, we're not going to go through that right now.
Well, yeah, well, you have. So we just touch on the subject itself. You have mindfulness.
Yes.
Mindfulness. And meditation.
Those are two.
Those are two.
Yeah.
And those are what you teach on Wednesdays.
Yes. We talk about it. And
6 p.m. Augmented Teachings. You'll be here teaching mindfulness.
Yeah.
And meditation. So people, you can teach people to weed their garden.
Yes.
So they can bring a better version of themselves.
Absolutely.
Every day to the world.
Because like that diamond, you know, that diamond can't shine unless you're polishing it, right?
Right.
So if I am a multifaceted being, I like to think of each one of us as a diamond, and each one of those facets, each one of those sides is a part of us. So basically, I want to make sure that I am clean and clear so that I can attract more of those experiences that I choose to have. Nice. And I firmly believe that the tools and practices that I have experienced, I guess, have brought me to this moment right here and right now.
Right, because you manifested
everything.
A place where you could create content on a daily basis if you wished.
And here it is. You know,
and we're here in the studio and we're having a good time.
And this isn't a love fest, but basically, babe, I manifested you.
I know, and it's weird because like I don't know, like a year ago I poofed into existence.
I know,
crazy.
like how'd you get here? So yeah, what we do in the dark comes out in the light. There's so many different interpretations of that. You know, we like to say it's not your way. You know. No, it's and.
I like your way just as much as mine.
Exactly, me too. Because it's the truth. Because we have a way of understanding it from both perspectives.
Yes, with our knowledge.
Right.
Our bank of knowledge.
Because it resonates, you know. So.
That is amazing.
I know.
I
it's
like
fun.
that. It's funny because I hadn't heard it in depth like that before. And I enjoy that very much.
Well, thank you for letting me share because that was just like a little snippet of what it was, you know, on the spot. I didn't know I was going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
So.
That's what you can fit on a fortune cookie.
Yeah, there you go. All that stuff.
All that on a fortune cookie. Right. Nice. So that's amazing. And
we're live. This is our life. So welcome to it.
We do a lot of laughing here, which is, and that's something part of the innate too.
Yeah.
Is sometimes a soul will come here and they have a natural sense of humor, and other souls don't. It's learned over time. You don't know how you got it. You don't know the lifetimes to get there.
Yeah.
But you develop it over lifetimes. Developing that sense of humor and love and appreciation. All those things are developed over lifetimes.
Yeah.
And we both have great sense of humor as we both love laughing.
Well, I think it comes natural to me. Like, honestly, people say, like, what's your favorite thing in life? Smiling and laughing. Like, I'm not being cheesy. Like, what's the guy from Elf? Like,
oh, yeah.
my favorite thing is, what does he say? Like, smiling, or I don't know, whatever he says. But, like, honestly, I'm like, that's me. Like, I smile and I laugh all the time, because I think joy is our natural state of being.
Yes.
And if we are not in a state of happiness and joy and bliss and just feeling good, then we are not living and being our true, authentic self.
Right.
So...
Wow.
That's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that, you know, we get to have all these experiences. And, you know, in our podcast, our previous podcast before, you would say, you know, always keep love and laughter in your heart and keep moving forward. It's like, that's really the basis of how we choose to live our life, is doing whatever we can to bring more joyful experiences for ourselves and for others. Because
those are the things that we take back home, and we have more to draw from.
Yeah.
Right. You want to, back home, I mean, think about Disneyland. You want Disneyland to have only 2 rides? No. You want Disneyland to have all the rides open that day. You know what I'm saying? Especially your favorites.
And why do we have to limit ourselves? Because I believe, in my understanding, that we live in a limitless experience, reality, dimension, whatever you want to call it. Just this whole life experience.
The world's your oyster.
Oh my gosh!
If you don't have the knowledge that it's there, and you just take it if you want it.
So you were saying something about, you know, 2 of the tools that I use are mindfulness and meditation. So I feel like mindfulness, for me, there's lots of different definitions and interpretations of mindfulness, but for me, there's a guy by the name of Jon Kabat-Zinn, and his viewpoint on meditation is being aware in the present moment of what's happening and not judging it as good or bad. It's just seeing it for what it is. And so I'm just going to do a little plug here for myself real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I co-authored a book called The Big E Power. And the main author, his name is Charles. He is no longer in a physical vessel, but he was basically leading us on a journey to becoming a master of ourselves, not of anything else, not of life, not of the world.
Well, you're here just to develop your primary purpose is to develop your soul.
Exactly.
Not point everybody else and develop theirs. Develop your own.
No. And so why would we want to judge other people? It's like they're learning just like we are.
Right.
And so I wanted to just read something. I know I've read it in the past, but I want to read it again. So one of the things that Charles, you know, like I said, we were working on a mastery level, on basically mastering our subconscious mind and our ego. And when you are creating a life, co-creating with the divine, a life of mastery, you kind of take on the role of being a master in your life. And here's what we have to say on that. The master is one who always agrees with results, even if they do not appear favorable, because the master knows that at some level he must have intended them. This is why the master never sits in judgment of another person, place, or thing. The master knows that he put it there based on the law of attraction, right? Or intention, unconsciously or consciously. The master is aware that at some level he made what he is experiencing happen. This is why the master sees everything as perfect.
So I want to add to that in the duh mentality, right? And break it down. So basically, what you're saying is if you stop judging yourself, you stop judging others because it comes natural hand in hand. When you stop, and that's how I overcame social anxiety.
Right.
I stopped critiquing everybody else, so therefore, I stopped assuming everybody was critiquing me.
Right.
Right. I just stopped, and I started finding positive things about people, and then I assumed, they're thinking positive things about me too. Over time, it didn't happen the first time, but it takes after months of that. I'm like, my social anxiety just started lightening up, and then my personality started showing through. Right. But it took some time, but I had to be mentally aware of what the problem was.
Right.
And overcome it. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Oh no, that's okay.
Okay.
No, you're right.
So that's basically, and that's we're here to develop our souls, and that falls right in line with that.
Absolutely. And so that's what I was talking about, that garden of my mind, that's the unconscious, realm of my thinking. And so if I have, the thought that, I'm not good enough or something like that, then based off of the law of attraction, I'm going to experience that.
Yeah.
On some level, and you talk about karma keeping everything in check and keeping everything in balance.
Yes.
Well, if I am a master and I've done something in my past, or I've thought a certain thought, or whatever that may be, I do believe that we live in a cause and effect universe. And so thought is the cause to the experience, which is the effect. And so on some level, whatever I'm experiencing, I made happen. I co-created this experience that we're having right now for me.
Right.
And you co-created this for you through our thoughts, our vibrations, our frequency. We have sent out into the law of attraction, and just like the law of gravity. So if I have this hair tie and I drop it, I can trust that the law of gravity is going to drop that.
Right.
Well, I also trust, based off of my understanding and my experience, that the law of attraction does bring me eventually what it is that I choose to experience.
Right.
But it's not up to me the how and the when. That's up to, we'll say life, we'll say God, we'll say the universe, whatever it is.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You don't get to choose the how and the when, but you can choose the experience you want to have.
Right. Based off of our vibration and our intent.
Right. Because our job is to experience our life here. God is the creator. We are the experiencer. So therefore, when we say, God, I want to experience this, then you set that into motion and you put the effort towards it mentally, physically, whatever you need to do to make that happen.
Right. So in the New Thought philosophy, we say, pray and take action. But there's another saying, it's called treat, because we have it's called spiritual mind treatment. So we say treat and move your feet. You can't sit in a corner and pray for something, however you pray. And by the way, there's no right or wrong way to pray.
No.
You pray what feels good to you, to the understanding that you are.
Right. Yes.
And then you take action. You can't sit in a corner and say, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want this. That's begging. And I don't pray that way.
Right.
I pray from a different way. Even though I just said that there's no right or wrong way to pray.
I'm about to say something. Go ahead. Go. I was about to say that. I'm about to say there's no wrong way. But don't do that.
No.
Go try it. So explain.
Because we have to take ownership of our own life. We have to take action. We can't just sit in a corner and wish something to happen. We have to do something about it.
Right. And if you want to beg during your prayers, go ahead, but then move your feet and start making stuff happen.
Yeah.
You have to give the opportunity a chance to expand. Right. Just I wanted a co-host, and I kept trying to find people here and there, here, and I'm like, it's just not working. And then my son goes, hey, why don't you go to the spiritual center? I'm like, oh. And I didn't see you the first week or the second week. I saw you the third week, but I didn't approach you till the fourth week. So it took time. It took time.
Right. And I hadn't spoken till that fourth week.
Right.
Because I was the guest speaker that day. So I got to do the presentation.
Right. You did.
And then afterwards, that's when you approached me. So it all had to line up, But basically, we both put that out there. We both set that intention. And then, the law of life brings that to us.
Right. Exactly. And it's a beautiful thing. And once people get understanding of it and see small successes here and there, they'll trust it as much as they trust you dropping that hair tie.
Absolutely.
It's automatic. It's going to happen. When you have little successes here, then you can start trusting
You get to that point where you're not like, oh my God, I really, really hope
it falls.
that if I drop this or if I let go, it's going to really fall, because I need confirmation that the law of gravity is real.
Right.
You do eventually get to that point. That doesn't mean that sometimes I'm not in doubt or fear. I'm still human. I'm still learning and growing.
Right. Because I'm not impatient about it. Right.
I know. Sometimes it's like, come on. No, but
wait till the last minute, would you?
Another interpretation for me that I was just reminded of is, what you do in the dark comes out in the light. If you think of the garden of your mind, what you do in the dark, you're planting this seed, and that is with our thought and our intention. So it's like, this was a seed that I planted a while ago.
Yes.
I planted that intention. My intention is to have a show and a co-host where we can talk about the things that inspire us to think better, feel better, and in turn be better. No, but honestly, the cheesiness aside, that really, really was my intention. And then I, planted that in the dark, and now look, it has come to fruition. It had to grow. And that's where that patience really comes in, because you're like, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? How am I going to do this?
Right.
I didn't know anybody that had even the ability to do any of this stuff.
Right.
And now
all the resources to do it.
Any of it.
Right.
Any part of it.
Right.
Until I did.
Right. And it was like a year ago, right? Over a year ago.
Yeah, over a year ago.
Right. It just took time. It actually didn't wait that. By the time you met me, it was only 6 months or so, right?
Yeah.
So it actually only took 6 months to get to that person, and then another 6 months to get it to this point.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it took time, but here you are, and it's worked out because you were very specific in what you wanted.
Very specific.
Very specific what you wanted. And it's like, you asked for that too? I'm like, yeah, I asked for that. I'm like, well, that just happened to be what we got here. That's weird.
So I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in divine synchronicity. And the more I tap into the subtleties of life, and we'll talk about that another time, basically it's just being aware and having the ability to recognize what's what. I've been able to develop that skill and really hone in on that. But if I could only just not lose my train of thought, that's an ability that I have not quite mastered.
You have so much going on. You got like 3 different train tracks going, right?
I do.
And then sometimes they fall off the trails, and these 2 are still going. Sometimes they crisscross.
Oh my gosh, I know. My brain goes a mile a minute, so I don't know what I was talking about.
That's right. I'm not perfect either on that concept.
But that's the beauty of this live show, because when we were just recording them, I would lose it, and I would be like, Nick, that's our producer, cut. We got to stop. Or I'd get the giggles.
Oh yeah, cut this 3 minutes out. We don't need that, right? But no, now it's live.
But now it's like, you know what? Here we are. This is us, and it's funny because I wanted to do a segment in my life by myself called Real Talk, and it's so interesting because it never happened, but I didn't take action on it because I'm like, I don't know the how, and I was so caught up in the how. How am I going to do that? When am I going to do that? How am I going to fit that in my schedule? And then literally you showed up. And then Real Talk with Todd and Brandi just developed.
Right.
And it's so perfect.
I remember that day when I showed up. It was on a white horse, and I was wearing my best armor.
Oh,
I remember
my
that.
God. It was. And I'm like, who's that guy?
Who's that guy? I know.
But I love you. No. We have fun, though. So, and it's funny because before, this is the stuff that we would have had Nick edit out, but it's like now,
you guys get to enjoy it.
I don't even remember what I said 2 minutes ago.
That's all right.
Because we live in the moment, and that's really what being mindful is.
Right.
Is living in the moment and not judging any of this is bad, any of this is good. It's just, it is what it is. And I move forward from that,
Right.
But anyway, so that was that segment on, what you do in the dark comes out in the light. I should ask my dad, though. Hey, Dad, what does that really mean? Because he used to tell me that.
I know. So I saw a fortune cookie one time.
No, but...
We did a segment on that. Took like a half hour. You should watch
Coach
that.
Coach is laughing at us. Thanks, Coach. No, so how it happened, though. Can I tell the story?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Real Talk. Maybe we'll edit this out for YouTube so Dad doesn't see it.
So who?
So my dad doesn't see it.
Yeah.
No, but one time, okay. So I was a teenage girl once, in case you didn't know. But yeah, and so I was going out with my friends, and I'm like, okay, bye mom, bye dad, I'm going out. I'll be home late, don't wait up for me. And he says, come here. So I walked down the hallway.
Your dad said this. Yes.
And in his deep voice, he's like, come here. So I'm like, I don't want to go down there. And so I go down to the end of the hall, and I'm like, yeah, what's up, Dad? And he's like, just remember, what you do in the dark comes out in the light. And I'm like, oh crap, that means he's gonna know everything I'm doing tonight. So really, that's what I didn't want to talk about. But so that's really how I learned what you do.
You know how he knows, because he done it himself.
I know, and I'm like, oh man, that means I'm gonna get caught. That's really what that probably means, but I'm trying to put a spiritual twist on that one. That's really what it means.
And my interpretation is, when you get home, you're caught on everything.
Exactly.
Right.
So everybody wins. Everybody's right.
But if you're mindful and you do the right thing more times than not, your past life review is amazing. It's fun.
I know.
It's exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's why you said you had said something a while ago, and some of our friends really, really loved that. It was on one of our previous broadcasts, and you had said something like, what kind of movie are we creating? Are we creating a 2-star movie, a 5-star movie? Like,
right.
what is it? Because we're going to be replaying this over and over and over.
Right.
forever.
Right,
forever, because it's always imprinted into time. There is no time and space, but it's, it's forever.
Right.
In the Akashic records, everything that is said, everything that is done, everything that is felt, everything is being recorded through our senses and put out into like the ethers, if you want to call that.
Right.
And
to be recalled at any time.
Yeah, it's the hall of records.
For any reason.
Everything is in there. It's like the cloud. It's the infinite cloud, where everything is there.
Right.
And so...
and I know people are like, well, how would you even record all that? There's no limitations in heaven. There's no limitations.
No.
So that's why all these things are different back home.
Right. And equally so, that's why I had said a little bit earlier, that we live in a world of infinite possibilities.
Right.
Because anything can happen.
Right.
All we have to do is just set our intention. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen tomorrow. It's like, oh, I want $1 million. And then next week, Ed McMahon or somebody, whatever. Is he even still alive?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, Publishers Clearinghouse. Somebody Google that. And see if he's still alive. He's going to come to my door. I just want $1 million. Hey, if it does, then then it works. No. But no, there's no time limit. There's no time limit on God. There's no time limit on, spirit ever manifesting anything. And sometimes things happen really, really fast in life. It's like, man, I was just thinking about that, and boom, it just kind of like showed up.
Right.
And other times we may wait a while, because all of the pieces of that puzzle that will fit that frame, so it's like, oh, I want a blue Corvette,
Right.
Okay, well, you put that intention out there, you work for it, you take some action steps. Doesn't mean you have to work hard. It's just, you put some effort into it,
right.
And you do some things. And at some point, whether it's this lifetime or another, you're going to have a blue Corvette.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
I know. But next lifetime there'll be electric. I want a gas one.
Oh, you want a gas one? All right. So I guess we better do some spiritual work now. Anyway, so, yeah, I feel like we've talked a lot on that subject.
I know. That was supposed to be a 10-minute subject. Where are we at right now?
I know. We're at
41 minutes. Oh, my God.
But that's okay, because I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Where is heaven?
Where's heaven? Oh, my gosh.
Where is heaven?
Heaven. Well, I got directions from the guy down the street. Right? 2
How
lefts.
do I get there?
Wait. 3 lefts, make a right. So, no, gotcha. Heaven. I know, because a lot of people in... religious circles, because they only had the Bible to work with, a book of prayer. They think that there's heaven here, and then hell's here, down there, and then we have us in the middle, kind of in purgatory, trying to figure out who goes where. And it's like, and I tell people, heaven is everywhere. Heaven is down there. Heaven is up there. Heaven is inside of us. Heaven's 1 inch in front of us. Heaven is the whole universe. There is nothing else but heaven once you leave this vessel. And that's what I want to tell people too, is especially people that are on the verge of transitioning, or people who have just lost people that are transitioned out of this vessel and passed over. Heaven is everywhere. Once you leave, because I know I have a friend and she was like, I'm worried my son isn't going to the good place. I'm like, there is only a good place. I had to explain it to her, and she was so caught up in religion that she's like, no, there's bad place. I'm like, no, there is no bad place. Once you leave this vessel, literally 1 inch outside your body, it's heaven. You go to heaven right immediately. Heaven isn't up there away from you. It's here.
Right.
It's here. We just don't realize it because these vessels keep us from realizing it and experiencing it directly. Well, we could work at it, but where we're at now as a society, we actually don't realize heaven is right here in front of us.
Right. And so, in my practice and my experience, I practice more about turning within to find God. Because when I can still my mind and still my body and become calm through mindfulness and meditation, then I realize I'm already here. I'm already in heaven. Right. This is heaven. It's just showing up as in this 3D reality differently, because we're showing up in these vessels differently. But when we can drop in, and I mean into that steady, subtle frequency that some people are able to tap into.
Of spirit.
Yes. Which spirit is God, which is everything. It is a vibration. It is a frequency. It is all that is. We just can't, we can't see God. We can't touch God. Oh, wait a minute. But you are a physical representation. You're a manifestation. Right. All of this, everything that we're touching is
vibrationally, it is God. Because God exists at the atomic level. And God makes all the atoms vibrate. And
that is why I don't, pray to any outside source. I am praying to my highest self, which is the originating source, which is what some people interpret as God, or, the supreme being, or first cause, the creator of everything.
Right.
But I also believe that I am, like, there's a starting point, here's the first I am. And then you can think of like the Big Bang Theory, or, all kinds of different things. But we are fragmented off of that one. And so some people say that, oh, well, I'm a child of God. Well, I am the micro to that macro.
Right.
And so I pray that way. I pray from that same understanding that I am one with the source that created all of life. And if the source that created all of life created me and created all of this, and I am made in the image and likeness of this one, of God, then therefore I have the ability to create and co-create the experiences that I choose to have.
Right.
And so that's where I come from as far as that. And so realizing that wherever I am, God is. Right. And God is right here within.
Right.
Because it's that internal flame that we are, that is God.
Right. And once people realize that there is a little piece of the original in every human walking on this planet.
Yes.
Of the OG of God, right? Of spirit.
Yes.
Right? There is a piece, then it's a little harder to judge that piece.
Exactly. And that's how we work the puzzle of unconditional love so much easier, by realizing that, you are a manifestation of God. I am a manifestation of God.
Right.
So if I love the God within myself, I also love the God within you. And that's what Namaste is.
Right.
Is the God in me honors the God in you.
Right.
Because I know that from a unity standpoint, we are one and the same.
Right. And there's a lot of religions that are like, no, God is good and we're dirt. And I was like, no.
Right.
This is a co-creative experience.
We're less than.
It's a co-creative. God cannot experience this. Only we can. God creates, we experience. And then we bring those memories back. And then God got to experience what it created through us. So we're doing this as a labor of love. It's not like not boss and worker.
It's not master and servant.
It's not master and servant.
Right.
We're doing this as a labor of love to roam around this planet and bring back experiences from it.
Because those experiences that we bring back, we get to experience them over and over and over outside of this physical vessel. We are limited by this physical vessel in this 3D reality. But through meditation, we can access.
You can get past this.
Yes, you can.
And you can feel the God that's the heaven that's 1 inch in front of you, 1 inch behind you, 1 inch above you, 1 inch below you. You can feel that heaven. And that's the whole point of what you do.
Yes.
On this show, we explain the why. On your show, you explain the how.
Right, from my experience.
You are connecting with God. Reading the Bible isn't going to get you to connect to God. There's some beautiful stories in there, beautiful scriptures. But reading about other people isn't going to get you there yourself.
Right.
You have to move your own feet.
You have to be the experiencer.
Be the experiencer. So you know how to connect to God. You know how to connect to spirit, to that vibration. And that's what we want to bring to people. We want to help as many people as possible. So I help people get the mental picture in their head of how it works, and then you actually help them work the puzzle and learn empathy and compassion and acceptance. Because once you get connected to that vibration of God, which the Bible does support, Bible says, be still and know that I'm God. Right? You help people connect to that, it changes them.
Absolutely.
It changes them. They're like, wait a second. I'm not going with this guy saying no more. He's preaching hate. What I felt was love.
And the biggest thing that we talk about, and I've taught my son, is how does that make you feel? You know, anything that you hear, if it makes you feel sad inside, if it makes you feel confused inside, if it makes you feel like yucky, you know, I'm talking to my kid here, you know, just pay attention to that. If it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy, if it makes you feel excited about life and ignited, pay attention to that, you know, and just really notice. And I always say, how does it make you feel? Because our feeling really kind of tunes us into what vibration we are, or what frequency, that we're vibrating at.
Right.
Because if we're vibrating at a frequency of anger, fear, frustration, pain, judgment, any of those things, you know, sometimes we don't feel very good.
Right.
We don't have a lot of energy. And what are we putting out there? What we are vibrating at, the law of attraction will bring us more of that, because that's how it works in my experience and opinion. So when I'm vibrating at happiness and joy and love and bliss, what am I going to be attracting? More experiences like that.
Right, exactly. If you watch 3 hours of Fox News, you're going to attract 3 more hours of Fox News tomorrow, right?
It's about the feeling.
That's right.
But if somebody watches something like that and they are absolutely
on
loving
both sides
it,
of the aisle, and it brings you frustration, anger. My parents will watch MSNBC and be so just like distraught. Yeah. Especially when Trump was in office. Distraught, just like, what's this world going to? What's this planet? What's this country? They brought themselves there. Yeah. Nothing. The only thing that's constant is change. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
Just live your life. Just live your life. And I after a while, for a little while, I'd watch it with them. I'm like, I'm not watching this no more. Yeah. I got my life to live.
Why did you stop watching it?
Because it was bringing me down.
You didn't like the way you were feeling?
I didn't like the way I was feeling.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I understand that there's issues with politicians on both sides. I'm not here to fix it. I can fix it by voting. Right. And trying to use my own intellect of what's right and wrong as far as intent. Intent. What was this person's intent when they did this? Because I may not follow your policy, but what was the intent? Was the intent to help, or was it the intent to hurt? And that's what I look at. And I see some politicians on one side leaning towards wanting to hurt more than wanting to help. Yeah. So that's why I lean one way, not the other, is because I look at the intent behind it. Right. And for me personally, I take it just a little bit back, in that I know that all souls signed up for the experience that is being had. Yes. And this is a little, I don't want to say controversial, but some people don't like it when this is said, but I don't believe that there are victims, because I do believe that we are all souls developing and experiencing and learning and growing. And so, we've all had experiences in life that were not always pleasurable. Right, man, I learned a lot from those. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier about being comfortable. Right. Sometimes people, places, experiences, or whatever come into our awareness, and we have those experiences to help us grow, to help us learn, to help us develop, to help us have some kind of revelation, and then it changes us. Right? It helps us to become something that we weren't before. And sometimes we may think that, this experience changed me and now it wasn't for the better. Right. But that's our human opinion of it. But when we can look at it from a higher spiritual standpoint of that everything happens for a reason, and that there's a purpose for every experience in our life, because it brought us to who we are today with this understanding, and then we continue on with that. Right. And it is a difficult subject. It is. And I said this story, I think the last time we talked, I talked about this story where there was a guy who passed over, and he was in heaven, and he was looking down on earth, and God had whispered, "What do you see?" when he was looking down on earth, when the man was looking down on earth. And he said, "I see chaos and destruction everywhere." And he goes, and then God said, "Look at it through my eyes." And then he started seeing things differently. And God goes, "What do you see now?" And he goes, "Perfection." Karma was keeping everything in balance. Right. And there's nothing that could be changed. And as humans, we can develop that ability, but it does take practice. And that's what I'm saying. We can't say, I wish that I had eyes like God to be able to see this experience as perfect. Okay. But there are tools and practices that we can do to get there. And again, those are mindfulness, being present in the moment and not judging it as good or bad, but recognizing and being aware that this is all the divine play
that karma has created to keep everything in balance and everything in check, because now this person can grow and this person can grow.
Right.
That's all that's happening.
Right.
Sometimes when we're in the middle of it and we are one of those we are one of those, people having that experience, we can.
Right. And as I tell people sometimes, God loves you enough to allow it to happen. And that's one of the things that people have a hard time with, is being God allows pain. Yes, because you asked for this chapter to be known. You asked for it to be experienced so that you can learn, because you may have had a problem with that in the past.
When did we ask for it?
When we're planning our life out.
Before we come here. Before we are incarnated in this physical vessel.
In between lifetimes, you may have had an issue with, certain things. We'll just say stealing. We'll just say stealing.
Okay.
Keep it small.
Right.
Stealing, and then you
that was a pattern of that soul.
And they're like, this soul obviously has a problem with it, and this old soul's like, hey, I need to learn from this.
Yeah, I can't move forward in my evolutionary.
And then they end up a grumpy old man somewhere, and he gets ripped off every week, and realizes how messed up it is. That soul is learning.
Probably not when that older man is having that experience. He may not understand that because he hasn't come here with that knowledge.
Right.
That, my soul has had this other experience.
Right.
Of being the one that was stealing, and then now this is my turn to know what that feels like. On a soul, on a human level, we're not always aware of that.
Right.
There are tools and practices again that where we can tap into the Akashic records and see what's happened in the past and why we're having a certain experience now. And that's why I said what we do in the dark, by doing all that work to uncover that. There are ways, but that's kind of like an advanced level. Right. Yeah.
And not only that, when those things are being stolen from him, right? Whether it be, bank accounts, or whether it be property, on anything. Karma is also being serviced. Karma.
Absolutely. So then when that man dies or passes on from that physical vessel, and he goes back to his next, past life review.
Karma has been taken care of, at least some of it.
Right.
If not all of it.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's how it works. Basically, karma was created so that none of God's children will ever be able to get over on another one of God's children. Maybe in the short term, but never in the long term.
Because we're all one and the same.
Right. So. And God created it and then put it out. It's not part of God. So God did this God created karma as like the blind justice. You know what I'm saying? Holding the balancing things. It just does. It works on its own. It does. God doesn't, pull the strings of karma.
Yeah.
Karma was created and then put into the world, and then we work with that.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Thanks for putting it in that perspective.
Yes, it does. Yes, it's its own entity, basically. From what I've understood it to be, from all the information that I've gathered through my N.D.E researching. So
I kind of want to check in and see who's still here, because on my phone. All right, so if you're still with us, say hey.
Say hey.
Say hey.
So yeah, we got a lot covered. That was an hour-long show.
Yeah, I'm here.
And I enjoyed it.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Oh my gosh.
So we have time for one more little soft topic.
What's that?
I don't know.
We do?
We do.
Okay, well, come up with something.
I don't know. Hey, Coach, what do you want us to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? You have any questions, Coach?
We're gonna take a request right now.
Yeah, we're gonna take a request from Coach. So Coach is my workout friend. So I'll be seeing him probably tomorrow. And
who's gonna watch your son?
Oh my God!
He has a baby now.
Our dog. Oh my gosh!
Baby puppy.
Baby puppy.
I'll be at work.
I know.
I'm not taking him with me.
He'll last 2 hours. 2.5 hours.
No, he'll be fine.
Right.
He'll be fine. But so there was something that he said he'll be here. He said he'll be there.
Cool.
There was something that I found earlier, and I thought I took a screenshot of it, and I wanted to talk to you about it. Oh, here it is. It says, failure is a beginning, not an end. Because there really is no failure. Just like how I was talking about that there's no, there's no victim, really. Yes, on a human standpoint, yes, there's victimhood. because we can just identify that person is on the receiving end of karma,
Right.
you know, and then there's another person on the giving end of karma.
Right.
If we look at it like that, we're not really judging it as this person did something good or bad, or this person, you know, received something bad. It's just, this is what happened. Okay, this is black, this is white,
Right.
this is life, here it is, you know?
Right. And when we go back to karma, it isn't good and bad. It's what you brought vibrationally.
Yeah.
It's what you get back vibrationally. So all the times that this soul had stolen from these people in the past, it brought down the vibration of those people, right? Now his vibration is being brought down through his experiences.
Right. Yep.
Right. So it's not good and bad. It's perpetual learning with karma keeping everything in check.
I love that.
All right.
Whoop, whoop.
So
Anyway, well, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.
And this has been a lot of fun. Again, we are still in the, you know, beginning stages of developing this. And so we really appreciate when our friends get to come on here and, you know, talk with us.
Have
and
fun.
Watch our videos live or on the playback. So...
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you right here
Thank you again
next
for being here.
Sunday
Next
at
Sunday.
6 p.m.
Are you going to be here on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday at 6 p.m. Meditation
Yep.
and mindfulness.
And that we will be having some spiritual practice.
Spiritual practice.
Spiritual practice on Wednesdays and our Sunday conversations on Sundays,
So
both at 6 p.m.
here you have the why. On Wednesdays you have the how. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.